Hello, everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanis Coughlin with the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I am what do I do? Intuitive energy healing. I do Celtic Shamanic High Priestess stuff, which is like ceremonial healings, crystal stuff, channeling stuff. I do stuff. And I'm joined today by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Jurkofsky. Jen, what kind of stuff do you do?
I do. What do I do?
You do stuff too.
I do stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm a registered psychotherapist, a Canadian certified counselor, intuitive life coach. I do some of that energy stuff too. And I do stuff too.
We just like to do stuff, and we often do stuff together. So that's fun too.
We do. The beauty of this interconnected, wonderful world.
Well, we are all connected. We're all one. So, it's a good thing. Collaboration is key, right? So we have some people watching today, which is great. We've got Kaylee, Fogo Pogo. Hello, hello. How are you today? Happy Monday to you as well. We have Janet C. Hello, Janet. Welcome, welcome. And we have Gemstone Rhapsody. Hello, thank you for joining us. And I'm sure there's more of you out there. Please come on and say hi. This is a conversation that we have often. And so we are looking forward to your feedback and questions and whatever else comes up. Because with Twillow Talk, what we normally do is we will pick a card from here. Hello, hold it the right way, Tanis. There we go. Soul's Journey lesson cards. By James Van Praagh, and we pick it as a topic, and then we have a little discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Corey. How are you? Awesome. So, Jen.
Yeah, where are we?
About the stuff, because I know that our Schumann has been spiking in the last few days, and we've had some big storms, solar storms in the last 2 to 3 days as well. 3 days, I guess. So, if it's upside down, we do the opposite topic.
That'd be interesting. We've done the opposite topic, right? Like we talk hate, we talk about love and hate. We talk about
it often goes that direction.
I mean, right? we're all over, and it's important, and it's important to talk about all of it. And so again, when we talk about the transits, right, we talk about the shadow and the gift, and right. And I think it's so important to really look at all sides. So where are we at right now? Well, as of yesterday, we moved into actually the first gate.
New beginnings.
Right. Well, and it really is. And this is, I mean, all of the gates have so much power and all associated with them. But this one, in the gene keys, it's moving from entropy to freshness to beauty. Right. And this one really is about, the source of creativity, of that ability for divine creativity, creation itself. Right. Being able to really move into that. But in order to move into that, we need to move through entropy. Right. And what does that really look like? And it's interesting because Richard really talks a lot about numbness when he gets into this gate, this gene key. And, when we really dive into it, especially this time of year, right? We're getting into that place of it's getting cold out. We want to just start to hibernate, right? We're all getting into that place of, how do I, kind of just start to come in, to close off, all of that kind of stuff. And we don't always recognize that part of us that is numb or is starting to get numb. And it's such an important piece because if we don't notice it, if we don't pay attention to it, this is where we come into that kind of becoming zombies, right? Just going through the road, just getting all the way through our day, being absolutely exhausted, and yet feeling like we've not accomplished anything, right?
I think we can all find some familiarity in that comment. Just saying. From time to time,
Yeah. Well, and how often do we do it, right? Where we spend so much time wanting to avoid that numb feeling, that feeling of, I don't want to be bored. I don't want to be, cut off. I don't want to be numb. I don't want to be in that place of disconnect, because we're scared of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're scared of what that's going to mean if we allow ourselves to sit in it. And yet, how often do we talk about finding the pause, finding the place in between? And it is that place in between that is so important, because the discomfort in that space is what allows us to find that creative spark, what opens us to freshness, what allows for us to tap into something new, something different, right? But if we just stay in that place of avoidance, where we're constantly just doing and not allowing ourselves to really sit in it, that avoidance doesn't allow us to find the gap. It doesn't allow us to find the pause, right?
It's
And
like
so,
being instead of doing, right? Allowing
mhm,
yourself to just be.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And we've talked so much on the show, and I talk to clients often, and I know you do too, about, being and allowing ourselves to be okay with an experience, even if it's tough,
Mm-hmm.
right? And allowing ourselves to be in a space even when it's hard. And one of the hardest places to be, or hardest things to allow ourselves to experience, is that empty place,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's so scary,
Yeah.
right?
Well, because our brain, we need to label stuff, right? In this linear way. And when we can't label it because it's a nothingness or a disconnection, we're like, what do you mean I can't label it? What is it? Why can't I label this? I don't know what I'm feeling right now. And it's okay to not know.
Yeah, it's not always easy, but it's okay,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But if we get too caught up in trying to just push through, this is that entropy, right? That place of just kind of, we get so into just the routine of it that we don't even realize what's happening. And we're not really working the muscle. It's just this kind of, you know, doing for the sake of doing. There's no joy, there's no fulfillment, there's no real life in that,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's no freshness,
Right.
right?
So maybe that's a good question for everybody while we're building into this gate is, so what brings you joy?
Hmm.
What brings you that freshness? And how can you build that into your everyday life a little bit more,
Yeah.
right? A big hello to Garnet, all the way from
Mhm.
England. Hello, hello. Kaylee says she's feeling that.
Mhm.
Checking all the checking. Yes, yes,
Mhm.
definitely. Anything else with the transits, or I kind of?
Oh, I'm sure it's going to come up again in whatever we end up pulling,
I'm sure it always does. It
right?
always does.
But
Yes.
again, like we talk about, depression and that kind of depressive state, and that really is kind of the repressive nature of this gate, this transit,
Hmm.
right? And so noticing it and noticing if that is coming up for you, what what can you do to allow yourself to just be in that numbness, to be in that space, so that you can look at it and go, okay, what can bring me freshness in this moment, right? This doesn't have to be a permanent place for me. right? I can allow myself to move from this. I just have to allow myself to understand what's happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if I'm constantly trying to fill it with stuff that doesn't actually bring me joy, I'm never going to get out of it.
Yeah. So we've got some great suggestions here. Garnet says she likes to paint.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And Kaylee says, nature, getting out in it, drawing, reading, definitely singing, all the things I don't set aside time for. And no, I should. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. Hello, Mousy Girl.
Hello,
Thank you for
hello.
joining us. Great to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Blessings and greetings to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, friends. Yes, spending time with friends.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. You can pull out some of the numbness.
Great works of poetry.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
And then Gemstone Rhapsody. I've been experiencing joy when I try and succeed with a new technique in my art, specifically knitting and crocheting.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome. Ooh,
Very.
you and Kaylee should chat.
Mm-hmm.
You have some similar interests, I believe. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So, should we pick a card?
Yeah, definitely.
See what else people see what it has to say for us today, what we have to say today. Because I guess we'll be saying it, and it's
Well,
just
they'll be saying it. I don't know.
oh, discipline,
Oh my.
discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. So it is. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. Yeah, my camera's not really focusing in, but it's
That's
quite a beautiful mandala in this one too. I like it. It looks like a quilt. It
nice.
doesn't really want to focus, but either way, discipline. So,
Well, you know what? It's
Kaylee
so.
says she's being called out. It's okay, me too.
And we all are all the time. It's
It's all good. Yes, it's a period of transition from autumn to fall.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and again, it is such an important piece, this idea of discipline, right? Because it it really takes setting our mind to sitting in something that we don't want to sit in,
Yes.
right? To allowing space for something that makes us uncomfortable, right? Saying, okay, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna let
Yeah.
myself, you know, sit in this and transform it,
Mhm.
right?
So, what does discipline mean to you? What does that term mean to you guys? For me, I think it's about repetition of something that you want to create. So, when I think about a discipline, like doing a discipline like a martial arts or a yoga or a meditation, or for me, that's like, so you do it over and over again until you get good at it. That takes discipline. Because I don't think that this discipline is referring to discipline as in punishment discipline, right? I think we're talking discipline like something that you perfect, like
Yeah.
work towards to perfect. So that's what I would. I think that's the definition we could probably use for going forward, if that works for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess my brain didn't even comprehend the idea of like disciplinary action kind of discipline.
Yeah, that's the HR girl in me,
You've been doing too
discipline.
much
Yeah,
HR today.
I have. I have to change hats.
I love it. Oh man. No, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah.
structure. Definitely agree with you, Tannis. Some repetition and practice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline being truthful or truthful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes, we just, we don't hold ourselves always accountable. Right. And so sometimes discipline has a role there too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Where, it's a fine line when we go, oh, well, I just want to be, compassionate with myself. And yes, we do need to be compassionate with ourselves, but we also do need to hold ourselves accountable for things and say, okay, if this is something that's really important to me, I need to hold myself accountable for it. And this is where discipline has its place.
Yeah.
Right. And saying, no, this is going to be a priority and I'm going to make it be a priority for myself.
Mm-hmm. And that becomes an investment of time and focus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Many of us, it doesn't come naturally. That really depends on your design and stuff, right? That
Mm-hmm.
often has something to do with it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And then being impeccable. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Also usually means rules or a particular way of doing things. Yeah, I would say a particular way of doing things is a good way to look at it, because that would even include rules, because rules even in the business world, rules or standard practices are particular ways of doing things, right? It
Mm-hmm.
may be that it's enforceable kind of thing with an external force when you're at a workplace, whereas self-discipline would be more of that internal guideposts that you would use, but it's still because you want to do things in a particular way. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
Learned both as a child, but would need to practice knitting. Oh, okay, sorry. I guess we're going back to the crochet and knitting. I'm like, you learned both types of discipline? Mm-hmm. To live life as a warrior? We don't want to be warriors. I know we are as humans, but try not to be. We can work on that, because we are a work in progress always.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is something though to be said for, again, part of all of this too is being able to, you know, look at it in such a way of, and this is a discipline in a sense of being able to look at things and recognize the judgments that our mind brings to them, right? And then bring in that discipline and go, oh wow, okay, there's that judgment piece again. All right, I'm working on that. I don't want to
Mhm.
hold that, right? And that takes work,
Yeah.
right? It takes work to challenge our own mental processes.
Oh, and it was warrior, not warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Phew. Glad to hear it good. Of course, Messy Girl says she's 71 years old and still a work in progress. We will be a work in progress while we are here.
Mm-hmm.
Every day we are here to learn something. So every day we are a different person because we learn something. And every time we learn something, we change.
Yep. And each time we come back, we're learning something again.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is a beauty to our progress,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to what, we're, each step of the way and what it is that we're working on, right? And to the process and to everything that, including, the shadow side of all of the things that we're working on,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so being able to notice that and to see that and all of it, it's a really incredible thing.
Definitely. It's not a huge topic for me.
Hmm?
It's not a huge topic for me.
How do you mean?
I don't know. I don't know what else to say about discipline today. I suppose we could talk about what things we practice as a discipline.
Do you have a resistance to discipline?
I do. Yes, I do. Uh-huh. I'm honest. I'm really not very good at it. Mm-hmm. Definitely. And
But
that
you have practices that are important to you,
yes, of course.
right? And so, sometimes I think, we have sometimes certain words bring up different things within us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so just the word itself triggers something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh, I think it has to do with this actually. Here. The word discipline carries some baggage due to outside expectations. It implies the shoulds that other people care about, but I don't care about. I would like to shed that baggage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with
Very
you.
well put.
I am with you. We should ourselves to death often. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, if the word itself carries that baggage, we can work on releasing the baggage, or we can also change the word, right? It's
Mhm.
not it's not the word itself that really matters. It's about the concept behind it, right? What practices, what things that matter to you do you make a priority in your experience?
Right. So let's put that out to everybody else. I'm kidding. Yeah.
Raw and real, people. Raw and real.
You wanted authentic conversation. That's what we do. So for me, I mean, my meditation practice, my ceremony practice, right? My daily rituals, those are important to me. Those are ones that I am fairly disciplined with. I think there's certain things that we do that's your daily routine that could be considered discipline. But yes, I'm definitely tainted by my HR stuff with this word. I think it's a word thing. I've had to, being in management and stuff, I've had to do a fair bit of performance management, is what I prefer to call it. And in doing that, yeah, we're not going to do a live therapy session. Thank you. That was part of and we're putting this out to everyone else. Yeah, I think, that does have an effect on how you feel about a word, right? And for me, sorry, I'm laughing at the comments, guys. Hello, Heather. Thank you for joining us from Indigo Jaguar. Nice to see you. Twillow Talk, keeping it raw and real. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I guess it's my day for that. Sorry, guys. Another thing that's raw and real, I have something in my eye at the moment. So, and yes, it's probably hair. Linguistics. Yes, exactly. Yes, you got it right. Yes, exactly. Yes. I think that is true as well. Like it has a connection to school too.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to get called to the principal's office kind of thing. So there's some stuff there. Oh, and I probably have some stuff from past lives hooked up in that word, having been a high priestess and all of that.
Yeah, it definitely carries a lot of baggage.
It really does.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, Indigo. I was like, Jedi, yeah. Like that one. The end there.
Yeah. I like that one. The other ones, I was those in past. I don't think I was a Jedi in past lives, but but
yeah. But it is. I think it really is important, right? Like we go through so much where we have conversations and we talk about things, and a certain word will come out, and it, for whatever reason, it doesn't sit well with us, right? And we don't always realize what is going on, and it's this word, and it just sets us off. But instead of recognizing, okay, there's something about this word that I don't like, the dynamic shifts.
Yeah.
Right, often, and then the relationship shifts, things fall apart, and we end up having an argument or something else, and we don't even realize that it's like, okay, there's something about an association I have with a word that just caused an entire dynamic to change.
Well,
Right?
and that's the programming. I mean, we talk on here often about the programming.
Mm-hmm.
And so our programming around the word discipline
Yeah.
can definitely be negative programming or a negative connotation, right?
Yeah.
Heather says in an alternate reality, she's a Jedi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Being a teacher's pet, it's a positive for me. It's a craving for me a lot of the time, the consistency, the guidelines,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's how you know you're going to be fitting in.
Mm-hmm. And
Right?
approval and
Yeah.
love and acceptance and all of that. If I know what the rules are and I can follow them, if I can be disciplined enough, I'm going to get my, yeah, right? Like there's so many associations that we have,
That's right. Yeah.
right? And if we recognize what those associations are, then we can understand our own core beliefs and dynamics around them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The most negative meanings of discipline are about being forcing someone to conform. So I run in the other direction when I hear that word. I think that might be my thing too. There's
Yeah.
part of it to that for me as well. Because I'm not, I don't like conform to like the 9 to 5 kind of job, and do that kind of thing. So that's not my
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm with you on that. Um, Heather says it becomes dogmatic, cult-like, a malicious groupthink. Yeah, and it is when you look at it in that sense. I do really value. For me, I value like independent thinking and thinking outside the box, and so discipline would be kind of the opposite to that. I would think, in many ways, because discipline is that repetition thing. I mean, you can have a discipline in something that's outside the box, for sure. But I think, at least for me, the association is very much like conform. Discipline is to enforce conforming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one here, Heather, I missed this one. She was studying the Hierophant today, which seems befitting.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say that would be a card for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such an interesting thing when we really kind of dive into our understanding of something too, because if we recognize how we feel about something, we can also see how the impact of that, um, in our experience. So let's say you have something that you want to do or something that you want to change in your experience, and then somebody says, "Okay, well then this practice could really help you."
Right.
Right? Let's say they say it in such a way that it triggers that word or that meaning for you. Now, all of a sudden, this thing that could be really helpful in moving you in a direction that you want to move in now has a negative connotation to it. Right? So then we begin to defeat ourselves before we've even begun because of this association that we have within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And I have seen that a lot with my clients as well. I see it with myself too, but I see it with my clients too. You know, because everybody has their own style of practices, there are certain things within practices that you might have had a negative experience with
Mhm.
previously. And so it tends to come up for you and you're like uncomfortable with it, and then it's not so, you're like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that. So it's important to talk about it for sure. And I think
which is why I didn't let the subject just change. I think this is an important conversation to have. And
it is. I knew you wouldn't anyway. It does equal specialization. That's true, Fogo Pogo. So it's also, I think we all do it, despite our feeling about the actual word. Yeah. And so, Gemstone Rhapsody says, so how can we reframe and reclaim this word to make it work for the rebel mystics? I'm with you on that. Garnet suggests maybe a mantra or prayer. Yeah, definitely. Anything we do can be taken to the extreme. It's all about finding a healthy balance. Great conversation. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this is a great one. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to that. I have one saved on my YouTube that it's super I find that I get very trancy with it. I'm not sure if it's Tibetan though. I think it might be a different kind of throat singing, but it's a throat singing one. Yeah, it's pretty cool. If you guys haven't listened to that, give it a shot. This particular one I have has drumming with it as well, so it's like shamanic and throat singing. It's very trancy. Feels good. Definitely when you need to sort of, I need a break from this being human thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Yes, I think balance resonates better for me than discipline, because I think that's something that we all need in various ways. I'm not saying that I'm great at it, but oh yeah, Fogo Pogo's seen it, so. Well, I could probably put it here. If I pull it up, I can probably share it with you guys so that you can watch it. What do we have here? Here.
Yeah. For our children. Yeah, not to them. And this is an important piece too, right? Like because we've had experiences with discipline that have been negative because of people's misinterpretation of it. Now we have our own, traumas around it, really. But just because somebody doesn't understand it doesn't mean that it in and of itself is wrong. Right? We'll go back to, and I use this often with so many different things, but Shakespeare, nothing is good or bad, but thinking so.
Right.
Right? So how do we reclaim it? Right? We have to reframe it. We have to make it whatever we want it to be. But how do we do that when we have this connection to it? And it's really about making a new association, right? And how do we make a new association for it?
Having a sixth sense. Self-awareness. Self-reflection instead of discipline. Yeah. Reclaim, reframe, and reclaim. Definitely. Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting topic. We all have there's a similar thread that goes through, but I think we're all having like our own different individual reactions to the word and so that's kind of cool. Because it is just a word, but we all have that experience around it, our own experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that kind of happens regularly, but I think this seems to be an interesting one in terms of people's experience. because I think the programming's very different. I mean, for me too. I mean, I was in Sea Cadets when I was younger, so discipline and rules and all of that was definitely part of that as well, right? Okay, yeah, I can see that. Hmm. Now I wonder why they were called disciples.
Hmm.
Was it from the word discipline? If so, was it around the practices that they were doing or their belief systems?
Yeah, well, I mean, it would have to do with the translation of the word,
Right, of course.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So you're testing my.
What is the etymology of the word? Yes, it would be helpful.
Hmm.
Hmm. That I do not know.
Right? Because it would have gone back to, I guess, why would they have chosen it from the Latin, which would have been follower or learner? But I don't, you'd have to go back to like when I took it in school to know the exact like thing. But it was like student or learner was the original kind of, I think,
Right.
the Latin of it. Right? So they were a follower because they were a student of, which is where it came from.
Hmm.
Right? So if we looked at it from that word, when you think about like a discipline, we're a student of a practice,
Yeah. So that makes sense.
right?
Absolutely.
And so we're learning, what it is we want to be, good at or what we want to do well, right? So if we follow a particular discipline, whether it's to play an instrument or right to have a craft that we do or an art form that we practice, a dance, whatever
Hmm.
it is, they're all considered a discipline that we're learning or that we're students of.
Yeah. So a neophyte,
Hmm.
as Garnet's saying. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So however we want to portray ourselves in that way, you know and it makes sense then, if we say, okay, well, I mean, in the Sufi tradition, it's this idea of being a lover of, right? Well, if you love something, you want to you want to learn everything you can about it. You want to embrace every aspect of it. You want to, know everything there is to know about it, right? There's that deep dive into something, right? So at any point we can choose how we want to look at it and what word we want to use to define it. It's really about the concept.
Hmm.
Hmm.
We're all beginners. Instruction to tuition, pupil, learner, trainee. Hmm.
Hmm. Right. But the idea behind it is, we can't become an expert at something. We can't truly understand something if we just every once in a while I'll take a look at it,
Yeah.
right? I'll practice it today, and I might practice it, a week from now, a month from now.
Yeah. I think it implies really bringing it into your world on either on a regular basis or in a big way,
Yeah,
right?
right. And so it becomes this again. It's and I think that's why I embrace and I love the Sufi way of looking at it is this lover of, because
Mm.
it really is. It's everything. It's what you want in your experience so much that you're willing to dedicate time and energy and focus to it.
Hmm.
right? In you know,
There we go.
there you go. Yep, Padawan. There you go.
Yep.
Stick with the Jedis.
Go with the Jedi thing. Padawan indeed.
Yep. But yeah, we just need to be mindful of what is coming up within us. And yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agreed, Gemstone. Yeah.
Yeah.
To reclaim it, I will focus on the learning aspects of the word, not the drudgery of repetitive tasks or the association with punishment.
Yeah. Because it's not even about, at this point, it's not even about the tasks. It's not about anything that we have to do. It's about doing it because it's what we want.
Mm.
Right? You don't
Voluntary integration.
Yeah. I mean, you don't become the disciple of something. You don't bring in a discipline in your life, right? Like you don't, and I'm using those words specifically because whatever words you choose, but you don't have those things chosen in your experience unless you want them.
Yeah.
Right? You have to want to learn that thing. You have to want to be the Padawan.
Well, and I think that goes back to our previous thing when it comes to school and being imposed on you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe that's why it's uncomfortable, because it's got this dichotomy of meaning that are very different. One is that you want to learn and you want to bring it in as part of your experience. The other part is something being imposed on you,
Right.
as
But
part of
that's
your
the
experience.
reclaiming.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not doing this because anybody else has told me I have to. I'm doing this because I want this.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't hide your candle, but put it in the middle of the room so everyone can see the light.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as light workers, I've said this many times in the last couple of weeks. As light workers, that's exactly what we need to do,
Mm-hmm.
is hold our light. And that's a great way to see it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes, without punishment. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we hold our light. And we hold our light even when it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we hold our light even when every part of us is going, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Can somebody can you just hold it there? Okay.
This is
Okay,
where we help each other hold our light as well.
I got
Here,
it.
Jen, I'll give you a hand, right?
Okay.
I'll help you hold your light.
I got it. Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm a little dramatic. But that's the point, right? Like, because we know this is, no matter what, I'm holding this and I'm going to hold it. And nobody is going to stop me from holding this light.
Yeah.
Right?
And that in itself is a discipline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, reframed. Okay, good. It has to do with love and light. I'm good. I can flow now. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's a beautiful thing when we can make something ours again.
Mm, yeah. Reclaiming and empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's come up today for me as a topic, as I'm prepping for, I have an enlightenment evening tonight in person. And so I'm prepping for that. And what came up was empowerment, and how do we bring empowering practices into our, our daily lives.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, we love that you've been participating with us. It's wonderful. Thank you.
You.
Yeah. So reclaiming is empowering us
Mm-hmm.
to stand in our own power and make our own choices. And so we're making a choice to see discipline as a practice and a learning. And
Well, when you think about it too, like in the world that we live in now, right? I mean, people start talking about, self-care and things like that. And there is a movement towards being able to, take time for ourselves and recognizing the need for that and the need for setting boundaries and all of that kind of stuff. And yet it is still a really hard thing to do.
it is.
And
There's
again,
recognition around it, but we haven't moved into acceptance of it yet, like
right,
as a society as a whole, right? So we still all feel the need for it and we want to step into it and we need it in our whole body. We need to embody that. But the world hasn't quite accepted it yet.
no, it's like, yeah, take time for yourself, take care of yourself. What do you mean you're taking time off?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
exactly.
What do you
What do you
mean?
mean you can't see me today?
What do you mean? Right?
Yes.
And, yeah. And so again, this idea of discipline, right? There is this moment of, no, I am going to make this a practice,
Yeah.
whether anybody else likes it or not. And I'm going to take care of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the mantra that went with this, I can accomplish what I set my mind to.
Yeah.
There is a piece of, I am going to take care of me, and the universe is going to hold space for me to do that. And I
Mm-hmm.
am setting that intention.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah.
Right? And that is hard. And that is
Mm-hmm.
scary. There is a whole
Yeah.
lot that goes along with that. And it takes dedication. And it takes discipline to hold your ground when somebody comes back and goes, yeah, I don't know if you should do that. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't, are you sure? That's a good idea. Do you really think that, you might get in trouble if, well, you just did that like last month. I don't know if you should do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And what Kaylee says, as a society, if you're not producing something, you're not worth anything. And that is, yeah. And what is production?
Yeah.
We're all worthy, no
Oh,
matter what we're doing in our lives. We're all worthy
yeah.
just because we are.
Hmm. Yeah. And we don't need to burn ourselves out to prove it.
Yeah.
Right?
Never refuse a gift as a warrior. Okay. We have a thumbs up. Great, Janet. Thank you. Setting boundaries is definitely a discipline. It's very much something we learn and practice. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those of us that are sensitives, I think that is also a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
So that's why it requires even more discipline to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, self-discipline
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
And self-love and compassion, right? I think we often don't even associate those things together, but they are deeply interconnected.
Mm-hmm. Discipline and self-love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? We don't do these things because we hate ourselves. Right? We're not masochists here. Well, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes we can be, but but we do these things because we want to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And so, in this sense, we can actually associate them to love and compassion.
Yeah. It is true. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Now, last week we forgot to pick a card.
Yes, I did put it on the chat because I remembered as soon as we were done. Not on the,
Yes.
on the typey.
In the comments there.
You like my words? Typey thing.
I like the typey thing. I understood what you meant.
Hi. Let's see.
So we want to pick one of these cards. So Jen got these new cards.
Yes, they are the Seeds from Sacred Feminine. This is the deck. And so they're practices. And so we're going to see what our practice for the week is going to be. To go with these.
So when they come on, we talk about discipline, then we give them something to do, like a discipline.
Follow the cycles.
Ooh, follow the cycles.
Okay, so I'll read you what it says for follow the cycles. All right. Everything in life has a season. You are a child of creation, but your body is made of earth. Mother Earth's children are created within the great cycles of life. You are built to flow in cyclical rhythms. Are you out of sync with the sacred feminine flow of life? Every season has a natural length and serves a sacred purpose. Are you pushing forward on a project or relationship when all signals say to slow down? There is no need for great effort. The cycles of life are effortless in that they happen naturally and organically. When you are experiencing struggle, your sacred masculine drive might be forgetting to listen to your sacred feminine cycles. Listen to the signals of stress being sent from your body to your emotions. Stress is a message that you are moving against the current of the natural cycles. When drawing upon the wisdom of the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual bodies, you will know when to take strong action and when to nurture the quiet time. Trust that all will get done. Follow the cycles, and your life will bring harmony to all.
Beautiful.
And you know what? Trust takes discipline.
Yes. It does, because you have to stick to things enough to get proof for yourself, right? Proof that you can do it, proof that it's going to continually happen in the same way.
Yeah.
All
And
of that stuff.
and waiting and not allowing yourself to just jump in and push that, right? That energy to push anyway. Stop yourself and say, nope, I want to push, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I get the go.
And our design comes into all of that as well, right? Depending on what our design is. Kaylee says, done, done, and done.
Or dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yes. Dun, dun, dun. I like that better. More dramatic. Card is spot on. Definitely. No, you can't make this stuff up.
Not
Indigo Jaguar, she says,
all.
oh my goodness, I just pulled the card from the deck sitting next to me, and the question on the bottom of the card, how can you trust yourself more?
Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah. No. So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so we've had quite an experience.
Yeah.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you all for making this conversation a well-needed one and a wonderful one. It was a tough one and a beautiful one, and I'm so grateful for it. Hard as it was.
Thank you for helping me reframe it. You don't pull no punches, you don't rock the boat.
Yeah.
Sometimes the boat needs to get rocked every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. Oh, thank you. We love you too. Thank you, Heather. And all of you chatters. Absolutely. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. And yeah, so stay tuned this week. There's lots going on. What have you got going on this week, Jen?
I don't know this week, but I think next, let me just open up my calendar really quick because I think, and I might be wrong if it's not next week. Let me just see. I should look ahead of time, but you know me. I am a little go with the flow. So give me a sec. I don't know. Is it next week? It is next week. Okay, so next Monday before our show, I'm going to be on with Gerald, Tarot Stash.
Yes, cool.
And we're going to be talking about we're going to do a deck live. Ooh, I think that's going to be our deck one. So that'll be a neat one to
and
do.
And then the following week, we're doing one together, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll
be fun.
Really cool. So
yeah.
So then
Absolutely.
we'll have that, and and then of course
Twillow.
And then so then that week we'll have that one, and then that Wednesday, the 22nd, is when I'm on with you and Michelle. So
right, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So there's some fun stuff coming up in the next couple weeks. I get to join you guys on all kinds of fun stuff.
Absolutely.
we get to do.
It's great.
That'll be fun.
And this week, actually, Michelle and I are celebrating our 2-year anniversary doing the show. So we're having an anniversary special show with her and I. And then on Saturday, I'm teaching the Aqua Lead Masters class.
Yay.
On Sunday, I'm teaching Reiki 3. So anybody that's still looking to do those are coming up soon. And I have etheric surgery next weekend on the 18th. So that's something that's, if that interests you, that might be something to take a look at as well. So stay tuned. And of course, we have Twillow Talk here again next week. And you never know what's going to come out of this deck. So we will just see. We've got some interesting topics left. Yeah. They're not all like discipline.
And even if they are, it's okay.
It's all about authentic conversation here, folks. So this is what we do.
We're just going to breathe through it. Rock the boat a little.
Rock the boat. Rock the boat. You're going to rock the boat too. But we have successfully reframed our word for the day. And so we are thanking you all for being here. And we would love to see you back again for all of the upcoming shows. And next week, same time, same place. All right. Have an awesome week, everyone. We're sending you tons of love. Bye now.